Good morning dear students. Welcome back to 8th standard biology class. Since last week we are discussing about the lesson organization of life. Now we will proceed the lesson. Last week we discussed about the levels of organization. In that we know about how the complex organisms are evolved from the simpler ones, that is from atom to organism. So now you well understood about cells, tissues, organs and the organ system. What are cells? Cells are the basic structural and functional units of living organisms. What are tissues? Cells of similar structure and function are called tissues. Then what are organs? More than two types of tissues carry out a particular function are called organs. Example, eye. What are organ systems? Group of organs is called organ system. They carry out a particular function. For example, the heart and the blood vessels together make cardiovascular system. Today's session, we are going to discuss about some of the physiological processes like homeostasis, diffusion, osmosis, osmoregulation, cellular respiration and metabolism. Today we are going to discuss about physiological processes. What is called a physiological process? The way in which biomolecules, cells, tissues, organs and organ system work together to accomplish the complex goal of sustaining life is called a physiological process. In simple we can say the functioning of the organism. It is called a physiological process. Today's session we are going to see some of the physiological process. Now, let us learn about homeostasis. Homeostasis is one of the important physiological process.
What is called homeostasis?
The word homeostasis is derived from Greek. Homeo means similar. Stasis means standing still. That means staying the same. Homeostasis is a property of biological system where the self-regulating process tends to maintain the balance for the survival. The regulation takes place in a defined internal environment. Example, mammals are capable of maintaining a constant body temperature despite the changes in the external temperature. Homeostasis for example, mammals ஓட பாடிக்கு ஒரு constant body temperature இருக்கும். அதோட என்வாயரன்மெண்ட்ல என்ன டெம்பரேச்சர் ஃப்ளக்சுவேஷன் இருந்தாலும் டெம்பரேச்சர் அதிகமானாலோ குறைவானாலோ இதோட இன்டர்னல் டெம்பரேச்சர் மாறவே மாறாது. அது கான்ஸ்டன்ட்டா இருக்கும். In simple words, we can say homeostasis is the self-regulating process of the living system. It helps to maintain the internal body environment stable to live. Homeostasis is the state of steady internal physical and chemical conditions maintained by the living system. It is a condition of optimal functioning of the organism. If the homeostasis regulates successfully, life continues. Or if unsuccessful, death or disaster occurs. The homeostasis வெற்றிகரமா ஒழுங்குபடுத்தப்பட்டா அந்த அனிமல் ஆர்கானிசம் தொடர்ந்து உயிர் வாழும். இந்த homeostasis வெற்றிகரமா ஒழுங்குபடுத்தப்படலைன்னா அந்த ஆர்கானிசத்திற்கு நோய் ஏற்படும் அல்லது இறந்து போகும்.
To maintain the process of homeostasis, there should be a control and coordination of the functions of the body. This process of control and coordination of the body functions is mediated by two systems. They are nervous system and the endocrine system. Along with this, liver, brain, kidney also helps to maintain the process of homeostasis.
There are different parameters help our living system to function properly. They are body temperature, fluid balance, pH level, ionic concentration and blood glucose level. These parameters are being kept in a certain preset limits. These should be regulated despite the changes in the environment, diet or level of activity. These parameters are maintained by various physical and biochemical methods. The regulation of body temperature is an example of homeostasis. We know that human beings are warm-blooded in nature. That means homeothermic. They regulate a constant body temperature. What is the normal body temperature of man? 37 degrees Celsius or 98.4 to 98.6 degree Fahrenheit. When the body temperature rises, sweat is produced to bring the temperature down. When the body temperature lowers, heat is produced by the muscular work by shivering. This is an example of homeostasis. This homeostatic mechanism is regulated by physiological as well as behavioral response too. For example, the regulation of body temperature. The sweat glands produce the sweat to bring the temperature down is the physiological response. What we feel when we feel hot, immediately we will stand under the fan, drink a glass of cold water. These are the examples for the behavioral response.
The control of blood glucose level is another example for homeostasis. We know that the normal blood glucose level of man is 120 mg per dl. Whenever the blood glucose level rises, the hormone insulin is secreted. This hormone acts on liver cells, fat cells and muscle cells. It stimulates the conversion of excess glucose into glycogen and stored up in the liver. Whenever the blood glucose level lowers, the hormone glucagon is secreted by the pancreas. It acts on the liver cell to stimulate the conversion of stored glycogen to glucose, which is released to the bloodstream. In this way, the constant blood glucose level is maintained. This is an example for homeostasis.
Another physiological process we are going to learn about is osmoregulation.
Osmoregulation is the typical example of homeostasis. Before you could understand the process osmoregulation, you must know about the physical phenomena, diffusion and osmosis. Diffusion. What is called diffusion? Diffusion is the movement of particles from an area of higher concentration to lower concentration. The overall effect is to equalize concentration throughout the medium. Diffusionனா என்னன்னா molecules higher concentrated அதிகமான concentration உள்ள இடத்துல இருந்து concentration கம்மியான இடத்திற்கு மூவ் ஆவறதுக்கு பேர் தான் diffusion. நம்ம diffusionனை தமிழ்ல பரவுதல் அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவோம்.
See children, now I am spraying this perfume into the air. Anyone can smell this perfume in this room. What is the reason? The perfume molecules diffuse into the air. That means the molecules move from the region of higher concentration to the region of lower concentration. That is, diffusion takes place. Students, now I am adding a drop of ink into a glass of water. See what happened? The whole water is turns into blue. What is the reason? The ink molecules diffuse into the glass of water and turns blue. That means diffusion takes place. What is meant by diffusion? The particles move from an area of higher concentration to an area of lower concentration. That is why the water is turns into blue. Another example of diffusion is the smell of incense sticks after lighting, because the smoke molecules diffuses in the air and we can smell it. One more example of diffusion is tea bag in the hot water. If we keep the tea bag in the hot water, what will happen? The tea essence is spread all over the hot water cup. What is the reason? The smaller particles containing color and flavor of the tea bag can move through the membrane of the tea bag into the hot water. As we know that diffusion is defined as the movement of particles from an area of higher concentration to lower concentration. Here, there are a lot of tea molecules inside the tea bag and none outside. So, the tea molecules diffuses into the hot water. This is an example of diffusion.
Students, do you know the mixing of foodstuffs and the digestive juices in the stomach occurs by diffusion? One more example, exchange of respiratory gases. What are respiratory gases? Oxygen and carbon dioxide. The exchange of respiratory gases between blood and the tissue fluid and between the tissue fluid and cells is occurred by diffusion.
Osmosis.
What is osmosis? Osmosis is one of the specific type of diffusion. Osmosis is the movement of solvent particles across a semi-permeable membrane from a dilute solution into a concentrated solution and equalize the concentration of both sides of the membrane. Or we can say, osmosis is the movement of water molecules through a semi-permeable membrane from the region of higher water concentration to the region of lower water concentration.
The movement of liquids in and out of the cell is depends upon the concentration of the solution surrounding it. Based on osmosis, animals live in three different medium. They are isotonic, hypotonic and hypertonic. Isotonic. Iso means same. When the two solutions have the same osmotic concentration, the two solutions are called isotonic. There is no movement of water molecules here. The concentration of the body fluid of the organism and the concentration of the external medium is same. So, in isotonic solution, in which the cell or the organism does not change its volume. The next one is hypotonic. Hypo means less. The solution that has lesser number of solute molecule is called hypotonic medium. Here, the external solution concentration is less compared to the concentration of the inner solution of an organism. In this case, water will rush into the organism. The third one is hypertonic. Hyper means high. Here, the external solution concentration is greater than the concentration of the inner solution of the organism. So, what happened? In this case, the water will rush out of the organism. Now, let us see what are the changes takes place when we keep the red blood cells in different concentrated medium. The first one is isotonic medium. If we keep the red blood cells in the isotonic medium, that means both the concentration are same. There is no change in the volume of the cell. It does not affect the cell. If we keep the red blood cells in the hypotonic solution, that means the external solution is less concentrated and the inner solution is more concentrated. What will happen? We know that the water molecules always moves from higher water concentration to the region of lower water concentration. So, endosmosis takes place. That means the water molecules move into the cell. As a result, the cell will bloat. After that, it may blast. In the third case, hypertonic solution. If we keep the red blood cells in the hypertonic solution, that means the external solution is more concentrated and the inner cell solution is less concentrated. What will happen? The water molecules moves out of the cell, resulting the shrinkage of the cell takes place.
Osmoregulation. What is meant by osmoregulation? The term osmoregulation was coined by Hober in 1902. Osmoregulation is the process by which an organism regulates the water balance in its body and maintains the homeostasis of the body.
Osmoregulation controls the excess water loss or gain by maintaining the fluid balance and the osmotic concentration. Osmotic concentration means the concentration of the electrolytes. What are electrolytes? The dissolved minerals present in the body fluid creating the charged particles. With the help of this osmoregulation, the animal's body fluid do not get too diluted or too concentrated. Osmoregulation. இந்த osmoregulation processனால அனிமலோட பாடி fluid movement வந்து கண்ட்ரோல் பண்ணப்படுது. அதிகப்படியான வாட்டர் வந்து அனிமலோட பாடிக்குள்ள என்டர் ஆகுறதோ இல்ல அதிகப்படியான வாட்டர் அனிமலோட பாடியில இருந்து வெளியேறதையோ இது வந்து கண்ட்ரோல் பண்ணுது. ஸோ இந்த ஆஸ்மோரெகுலேஷன் ப்ராசஸ்னால அனிமலோட பாடி fluid கான்சன்ட்ரேஷன் ப்ராப்பரா மெயின்டைன் பண்ணப்படுது. இப்போ அந்த கான்சன்ட்ரேஷன் வந்து அதிகமா டைலூட் ஆகாமலையோ இல்ல அதிகமா கான்சன்ட்ரேட்டட் ஆகாமலையோ மெயின்டைன் பண்றதுக்கு ஆஸ்மோரெகுலேஷன் வந்து ரொம்ப உதவியா இருக்குது.
Based on osmoregulation, animals are classified into two types. They are osmoconformers and osmoregulators. Example for osmoconformers are most invertebrates and marine organisms. Example for osmoregulators are fishes, amphibians, reptiles, birds and mammals.
Osmoconformers. These animals cannot maintain a constant volume of internal body fluid. These animals, when the concentration of the external medium changes, the concentration of the internal medium also changes. இந்த animals தன்னை சுற்றியுள்ள சுற்றுச்சூழலுக்கு ஏற்ப தன்னோட body fluidோட concentration மாத்திக்கும். So they are osmotically not stable. These animals try to maintain the osmolality of the body matching with the surroundings. Example, most of the invertebrates and the marine organisms.
Osmoregulators. These organisms maintain their internal osmolality, which can be extremely different from that of the surrounding environment through physiological process. Osmolality means the amount of dissolved solutes in a solvent. Here, these animals maintain a constant volume of internal body fluid. That is why they are called osmoregulators. They are osmotically stable. They can regulate the volume and the concentration of the body fluid. Example, fishes, amphibians, reptiles, birds and mammals. Osmoregulators. இந்த animals தன்னோட external environmentல என்ன changes இருந்தாலும் தன்னோட physiological activity மூலமா constant body fluid concentration maintain பண்ணும். That is why they are called osmoregulators. Now let us see how the osmoregulation is maintained by a marine fish. In the case of marine animals, the body fluid is hypotonic and the sea water is hypertonic. So, exosmosis takes place in the marine animals. That means the water molecules moves out of the body. As a result, the marine animals are dehydrated. That means dehydrated means water loss. This water loss can be compensated by drinking seawater and getting water from the food. When drink seawater, the salt content of the body increases. In marine fishes, a special type of cells called chloride secretory cells present in their gills. These secrete out the excess salt present in the body fluid. In these marine fishes, the kidneys reabsorb water from the urine and it prevents the loss of water in the urine. As a result, very little concentrated urine is produced. In this way, the water balance in its body is maintained. Osmoregulation by a freshwater fish. The body fluid of the freshwater fish is hypertonic and the fresh water is hypotonic. So endosmosis takes place. That means the water molecules move into the body from outside. As a result, fresh water enters into the body fluid and the volume of the body fluid increases. So, excess of water is removed in the form of urine by the kidney. Along with the urine, some amount of salt is also lost. Hence, the salt content of the body fluid decreases. It can be compensated by the absorption of the salt from the fresh water by the gills. They drink very little water only. In this way, these freshwater fishes maintain their water balance and thus they maintain the homeostasis. And now let us see what is cellular respiration.
Cellular respiration. What is cellular respiration? Cellular respiration is the process by which the organism break down the glucose molecules and release energy. The energy is released in the form of ATP molecules. The cellular respiration takes place in the cytoplasm as well as mitochondria of the cell. Cellular respiration is cell சுவாசம். ஆர்கானிசம்ஸ் குளுக்கோஸை பயன்படுத்தி செல்லுக்கு தேவையான எனர்ஜியை ப்ரொடியூஸ் பண்ணுறதுக்கு பேர் தான் செல்லுலர் ரெஸ்பிரேஷன். இந்த எனர்ஜி ஏடிபி மாலிக்யூல்ஸாக ஃபார்ம் ஆகுது. இந்த செல்லுலர் ரெஸ்பிரேஷன் செல்லுடைய சைட்டோபிளாசத்துலேயும் மைட்டோகாண்ட்ரியாவிலையும் நடக்குது. Cellular respiration is classified into two types. They are aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. Aerobic respiration takes place in the presence of oxygen. Anaerobic respiration takes place in the absence of oxygen.
Aerobic respiration. Aerobic respiration. In this respiration, the atmospheric oxygen is needed. In this reaction, the food substance is completely oxidized into water and carbon dioxide with the energy. It requires the atmospheric oxygen. All the higher organisms respire aerobically. Higher organisms means eukaryotic cells. This reaction releases large amount of energy. It can be written as the following equation. Glucose plus oxygen gives carbon dioxide plus water plus energy. Anaerobic respiration. In this type of respiration, partial oxidation of the food takes place. Partial means incomplete oxidation of food takes place. And the organism release energy in the absence of oxygen. This type of respiration occurs in the organisms like yeast and bacteria. Ethyl alcohol and carbon dioxide are the byproducts of this process. This reaction releases very little energy because glucose is not completely oxidized. Example, yeast cells convert the glucose into carbon dioxide and ethyl alcohol with the release of energy without using oxygen. This can be written as glucose gives ethyl alcohol plus carbon dioxide plus energy. Now let us see what are the differences between aerobic and anaerobic respiration. During aerobic respiration, it takes place in the presence of oxygen. Aerobic respiration, oxygen irundada nadakku. Anaerobic respiration takes place in the absence of oxygen. Anaerobic respiration, oxygen illamale nadakku. The end product of the aerobic respiration are carbon dioxide and water. The end product of the anaerobic respiration are carbon dioxide and ethyl alcohol or lactic acid. In aerobic respiration, it is common in all the higher plants and animals. Anaerobic respiration takes place in certain microorganisms and a human muscle cell. So important one more question. In human body, where does the anaerobic respiration takes place? You have to write in the muscle cells. In aerobic respiration, the amount of energy released is comparatively greater. In anaerobic respiration, the amount of energy is less because partial oxidation takes place.
Students, do you know aerobic respiration releases 19 times more energy than anaerobic respiration from the same amount of glucose? In aerobic respiration, each glucose molecules produce 36 ATP molecules. ATP means adenosine triphosphate. During anaerobic respiration, glucose is converted into ethyl alcohol and carbon dioxide. Yeast respires anaerobically. This yeast is added to the wheat flour to make bread soft and puffy. This is due to the release of carbon dioxide by the yeast. ரொட்டி தயாரிக்கும் பொழுது கோதுமை மாவுல ஈஸ்ட் சேர்க்கப்படுது. இந்த ஈஸ்ட் anaerobic ரெஸ்பிரேஷன் நடத்தி கார்பன் டை ஆக்சைடை வெளிவிடுது. இந்த கார்பன் டை ஆக்சைடு வெளிவரதுனால ரொட்டி சாஃப்டாவும் பஃபியாவும் இருக்கு. Metabolism. Metabolism is the sum of chemical reactions by which living organisms sustain their life. Simply we can say the chemical reactions which takes place in the cells is called metabolism. The metabolism consists of two processes, the anabolism, the building up of substance, and the catabolism, the breakdown of substances. The term metabolism is commonly used to refer specifically to the breakdown of food and its transformation into energy, cellular products, and waste elimination. Catabolism, the breakdown of substances. Catabolism or destructive metabolism. In this process, the complex organic molecules are broken down into simpler forms and release energy. This energy is used for all the cell activities. and this energy is used as the fuel for anabolism, heats up the body and enables the contraction of the muscles and the movement of the body. During this process of breakdown of the complex organic substance into simpler forms, the waste is produced. These wastes are removed from the body through the lungs, skin, kidney and the intestine. The food we eat contains different organic molecules like carbohydrate, protein and fat. These are all larger molecules. These cannot be used by the cells, so they are broken down into its simpler forms. At the end of digestion, carbohydrate is converted into glucose. Proteins are converted into amino acids and the fat is converted into fatty acids and glycerol. The glucose molecules, in the presence of oxygen, oxidize to give carbon dioxide and water and energy. This energy is used for the fuel of anabolism. This is the example of catabolism process.
Anabolism, the building up of substances.
Anabolism, constructive metabolism, is all about building and storing. With the help of anabolism, it supports the growth of new cells and maintenance of the body tissues and also storage of energy for future use. In the anabolism process, the small molecules are converted into large, more complex molecules of carbohydrate, proteins and fat. For example, glucose is converted into glycogen and other sugars. Amino acid is converted into enzymes, hormones and other proteins. And fatty acid is converted into cholesterol and steroid.
The repeated anabolism and catabolism reactions maintains the homeostatic condition in the organism. The metabolic process is the cause for maintaining ionic balance in the body. Metabolism is responsible for the movement, growth, development, maintenance and repair of the cells, tissues and in the human body. The metabolic reactions occur in different organs of living species. Students, do you know what is basal metabolism? Basal metabolism refers to the minimum energy required to maintain the normal activities of the body during complete rest in a warm atmosphere 12 to 18 hours after the intake of food. ஒரு மனிதர் கம்ப்ளீட் ரெஸ்ட்ல இருக்கும்போது, பூரண ஓய்வில் இருக்கும்போது அவருக்கு ஒரு குறைந்த அளவு எனர்ஜி தேவைப்படும். அந்த குறைந்த அளவு எனர்ஜியை தான் பேசல் மெட்டபாலிசம் அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவோம்.
Students, I hope you understood well. Today you have learnt about physiological process, homeostasis, diffusion, osmosis, osmoregulation, cellular respiration and metabolism. Thank you students.